Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another reading. I hope that your week has been good since the past reading, and I hope that, as usual, you are taking your time and listening to what your body needs and what your mind needs and what your whole being needs, as continuously I will continue to say that we are going through major shifts. And if we haven't been working on shifting for a few years, then these shifts can be a bit more difficult at this time. So self-care is so important at this time. It is so important to continue going inwards, taking time to sit with yourself and just noticing what it is that you need. Because you know um just the other day, I think it was yesterday, there was a nationwide blackout. And, of course, we're told what we're told in the news, but I also can't help but think that, the electric grid is very much affected by the solar flares that are happening at this time. And also, yesterday, the Schumann resonance was completely off the charts and coincided with this nationwide power cut. So, again, in the material world, we really can see how things are being affected by what is going on in the non-physical world. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Schumann resonance, this relates to the vibrational frequency of the earth. So just like we as human beings each have our own vibrational frequency, the earth also is vibrating at her own frequency. So yes, many changes, many shifts. It's important to take it easy. It's important to take time to check in, because as the non-physical world is changing internally, we might feel differently. We might be called to different things. We might see and feel ourselves reacting differently to certain things that we would react to differently. So what's happening is everyone is changing. We are all evolving, and we can either try and deny that change, and if we do, well, things won't go so easily for us, or we can just embrace the train that we are on and kind of ride the wave and appreciate and leave flexibility for yourself, to see that change is the only constant in the world. Change is the one thing that we can always believe in, because everything is always changing. Who you were today is not who you were yesterday, because, well, yesterday you didn't have the information that you have today. So at every moment in time, things are occurring which is changing us. We're having new experiences, we're interacting with different people, we're interacting with different energy. And the thing is, when we interact with people, we're bringing in new energy, which is shifting our own energy. And this is the same for the content that we're consuming. Again, be aware of what content you are consuming. Is this content elevating you, or is this content putting you down? Are the people you are surrounding yourself with elevating you, or are they putting you down? Is your job elevating you or putting you down? Is your boss elevating you or putting you down? It is a time where we must learn to start nurturing ourselves, because the world that we knew is over. And people might keep thinking that we're going to go back to normal, but we are at a time where more and more shifts are going to be taking place. And these are not small shifts, these are big shifts that everyone in the world is going to be affected by, but like all the shifts that are taking place at this time. So it is important that we take time to be more flexible and to be more open, and to realize that we too are constantly changing, and we will be called to continue changing, because we are going through a speeded up time of evolution. And even society, as we know, is changing. And so, again, as I've said, in past videos, is that we are being asked to evolve along with society, but now we are the ones who are playing the game. We are the ones who are creating, because remember, each and every single human being is the creator of their life, and whether they are creating consciously or unconsciously is now up to them. But this is the beauty of learning to live in the present moment, because most of us, unfortunately, are not living in the present moment. Most of us are either living in the past, and if we're constantly stuck in the past, then they say that we are in depression, because we are constantly yearning for something that already occurred, and we are not feeling fulfilled with what is happening now. And they say now when we're always stuck in the future, then it says that we are in anxiety because we cannot be happy and content with what is happening now in this present moment, but we are constantly looking to the future, wanting once again to be somewhere else, always wanting to be everywhere but here. But most people don't realize that most of our misery comes from being stuck in the past or present because we are not present. We are not being in the here and now. And all of life is happening in the here and now. Every single thing is happening here and now. But if we're in the past or in the future, sorry, then we cannot be in the present and we cannot see what is actually occurring. We are being blinded by what happened in the past or what we want to happen in the present or what we in the future, sorry, or what we fear will happen in the future. But when we're living right now in the present moment, being fully in touch with what is going on around us, then we start to experience life differently and we start to co-create with what is happening in our reality as opposed to what is happening through the lens of our veil, which is not allowing us to see the world for what it really is, but we are only able to see it through the perception of our past experiences. Ooh. So that message clearly needed to come out for somebody. If this message resonates with you, I highly recommend that you read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book absolutely changed my life and is actually what kind of set off my spiritual journey. It was also what helped me to get very deeply into meditation. And of course, meditation once again takes on many different forms, but meditation is really being in a state of presence. Being in the present is also a gift. So when you are being present, then you are a gift to those who surround you, or you are also a gift to the universe. So it's important what we're being called to as we've entered into the age of Aquarius, which is an age of information, is we're really being called to shift our mindset and to shift our perspective and to be open to allow new information to come in so that we can start to see the world for what it really is. If we are not open and if we're not willing to shift our perspective or to shift the way we see things, then we will never really see things clearly. We will always see things through our own individual subjective bias. So a good question for you to ask here is, where are you perhaps limiting your perspective, and where can you perhaps start to look at things in your life with a different perspective? And perhaps this will help you to find the answers that you are looking for. One of the reasons that we can't find answers sometimes is because we don't allow ourselves to see the answers, because sometimes the answers are not what we want to hear. And that's where learning to be more flexible and open and nurturing with ourselves, then really we will be more balanced, we will be more open. And so funnily enough, the first card that we have here is the Temperance card. And temperance relates to balance, temperance relates to harmony, temperance relates to duality. And the number here for temperance is a 5, and 5 is all about change, 5 is all about fun, 5 is all about harmony. So the reason there is harmony in the world when things are balanced. So also in terms of duality, everyone is either, I don't like to use the word good or bad, but for just the sake of this example, I'll use the word, everything has its opposite: good, bad, light, dark, cold, hot, birth, death. So there is always an opposite to each thing, and that is just the reality of the world that we live in. Because how can we know one if we don't know the other? How can you know if you are happy if you don't experience sadness? How can you experience success if you haven't known failure? So we have to experience everything about life is happening on one spectrum. And the spectrum is more like this than it is like this. So even though you have good or bad, there are different levels to good and bad. And because everything in this world is subjective, so something that might be bad for you might be good for some other person, because we're all at the end of the day living we're each living our own individual reality. So we have to find out what creates balance and harmony in our life. We have to learn to have balance and harmony from within. So if we are overgiving in one aspect of our life, then there is no harmony, because remember, beautiful souls, everything happens holistically. Everything is happening at the same time. So when we look at our life is not just one thing. Life is made up of multiple different areas, multiple different fragments. So for example, if you take your own life, you can look at your life in terms of your health, you can look at your life in terms of your relationships, you can look at your life in terms of your career, you can look at your life in terms of your finances, your social life, your family life, and so on and so forth. So the only way that you can really start to build balance in your life is if you are giving equally to each of the different aspects in your life. If you find yourself being stressed, it is because you are overcompensating in one area of your life, and your body, your psyche, the parts, because remember, the mind and the body have such deep innate wisdom that we are not aware of unless we tap into it. And so our body and our mind and our emotions are constantly communicating things to us. But unless we have the correct way of interpreting this information, then we're not fully aware of what our body is telling us. And this is why it's important to slow down and to start to question, because most of us are stuck in just in this pilot mode, in this autopilot mode, sorry, where we're just kind of going and going. And it's because we've done something so many times that we're just doing it out of autopilot. We don't even realize that we're doing it. But now we're being asked to start paying attention to what parts of our autopilot mode are actually in balance or are actually causing disharmony in our life, disharmony in our system. So it is so important for you to to start perceiving where you are not allowing yourself to change, where you are blocking the change. And this is what happens when we get stuck in our comfort zone. And I mean, there's absolutely no judgment. We've all been stuck in our comfort zone. There were times where I was also stuck in my comfort zone. And so one of the things that I did was to challenge myself and to try different things and to do things that made me uncomfortable, because generally when there is something that we know we need to do that makes us feel uncomfortable, it's because, well, our soul inside of us is constantly yearning for growth and so wants us to do that thing. But a part of us that is fearful of the change is going to block us from taking the action necessary for making that change happen. So remember, beautiful souls, that we came here, we chose to be here. We are soul beings having a human experience, and our souls chose to come and be here on this planet to embody a human soul so that we could learn certain things. Because remember, when we are soul beings, we are non tangible, we are energy, and we experience everything all at the same time. Whereas when we are in this human vessel, we have the ability to disconnect and to limit our perception because we are somehow limited by this material physical body. And so we can start to experience things, we embody them, we feel them inside our body, but we're feeling them as a disconnection, because when I'm feeling joy, it doesn't mean that everyone in the world is feeling joy. When I'm feeling anger, it doesn't mean that everyone in the world is feeling angry. We are each individually feeling and experiencing our own reality of this thing called life. So yes, there are certain things that are the same, yet there are certain things that are happening on an individual subjective level. So where are you limiting yourself from change? Where are you not taking the steps because you're stuck in that autopilot mode? And remember, it is important as you go through this process of evolution and elevation and learning who you truly are, because we are at a time where the spiritual world and the physical world are merging. And this is why we're experiencing time speeding up and things happening so much faster than they once did, is because literally time is speeding up. And when time speeds up fast enough, time disappears. So where are you stuck in the past? Where are you, sort of fearful of the future? Where are you not allowing yourself to move forward? And the next card we have is Six of Emotions. And this card really relates to, again, looking to the past. Where are you stuck in the past? Where are you not wanting to move forward? But also, the inner child is present here. And the inner child, we forget that we as human beings, that inner child is always inside of us, which is why when we allow ourselves to play, when we allow ourselves to have fun, not everything needs to be so serious. And unfortunately, life has taught us that everything needs to be so serious. But when we approach life with that childlike, playfulness, then we can start to see life for the playfulness and fun that it also has available to us. And the thing is, again, this is the programming of society, which makes everything be so serious. And, yes, sometimes we do have to be serious, but it's not, nothing is so dramatic. You have to just kind of breathe it out, let it go, allow yourself to laugh, allow yourself to not take things so seriously. And I know that I'm one of those people who, unfortunately, I laugh in the worst situations, and this is unfortunately just the way my body responds, and it's not funny, but sometimes and it's unfortunate, but I have to tell the person, I'm so sorry that I'm laughing. It's not that I find this funny, it's just this is my body's way of transmuting this energy. And luckily enough, most people, even though the situation is quite dire, they will laugh it off, and at least that dense heavy energy can kind of just pass through, and then you become more level-headed, you become more open to taking decisions and making decisions and taking action from a place of more level-headedness, more balance, as opposed, sorry, from a place of such seriousness and such doom or gloom kind of attitude. Because yes, sometimes there is doom and gloom energies that surround us, but we mustn't take decisions from that place. It is so important to step outside when things are occurring, when we feel like we're in between a rock and a hard place and we really don't know where to go. It is so important to just kind of take a step back, step aside, breathe a little bit, go and do something fun, and then come back to it. And you will realize these things are not so serious, and there is always a way out. And the reason it sometimes feels that there is no way out is because we are fearful of taking the change that we need to take. Most of us know what we need to do when things are going wrong, but we don't want to do it because perhaps the ego is blocking us, perhaps the part of us that doesn't want to see that maybe we are also partially responsible for whatever is taking place, and maybe we are the ones who need to change in order for the situation to change. But most of the time we like to look outside and we like to pass the blame onto others, or we'll say, oh, this is happening to me, and oh, everybody hates me, and oh, everything is always happening against me. But this is not the case. The universe doesn't have a vendetta against you. The universe wants to see you grow in the universe, because your soul, your higher self, chose to be here. This was your choice. And this is the whole concept of free will. But because you chose to be here, then the universe is working with you and wants you to accomplish the mission that you came here to accomplish. But sometimes we have to be the bigger person. And I know that I don't always like to be the bigger person. Sometimes I get really frustrated and say, hey, why is it always me that's being the bigger person? And then I question myself and I say, hey, well, maybe that's my ego playing in, and I'm trying to lift myself up on a pedestal and think that I'm the better one of everyone, where then I find out when I go and pay attention that I'm the one who's blocking the situation. So this is why the need for shadow work, and shadow work is really the concept of looking inwards and discover where we're blocking ourselves. So this is a constant journey. And the thing is, if we haven't nurtured our inner child, if our inner child was wounded in childhood, and if there were certain things that we believed in childhood that we haven't gone and taken time to heal, then this is going to affect our adult self. And we don't realize how most of the things that are hindering us in our life is to do with traumas that we experienced when we were children. And when I talk about trauma, I'm not talking about the capital T trauma where, maybe I got into a horrific car accident or someone died. Trauma is experienced differently, and trauma is just an overload to the nervous system, and we don't know what to do. So when a child is feeling all kinds of emotions and they don't know how to process that emotion, that is trauma to the system. And when there is an overload to the nervous system, then the mind generally starts to go into a negative thinking pattern. So this is why there is a need to start reprogramming the way we think. And most of us are hardwired to always think about what is going on negatively, all the bad things that are happening in our life. But there are so many good things going on in our lives all the time as well. But unless we pay attention to them and we actively seek them out, then we're stuck on the same narrative, which is always to think about all the bad things that are happening. So ask yourself where you can start to nurture and how you can start to love your inner child, and even pay attention. Take some time to go back and think about, maybe there were times where your parents didn't give you what it was that you needed. Maybe you were asking for help and your parents shut you down, or maybe you were really excited about this new idea and your parents were like, no, that will never happen. So just think about all those times and learn now to be the parent that you wish that you had, to become your own cheerleader, and to really love and nurture yourselves the way you would a child. Because at the core of you, the way I look at it is, your inner child is your heart. And you have to treat your heart with such softness and with such kindness and with such nurturing, because your heart is soft and your heart is fragile, so you must treat it that way. If you don't treat yourself with that fragility, I don't know if that's a word, but I think you get what I'm saying. If you don't treat yourself that way, then everyone else is just going to come and stomp on you, because it's an energetic thing. And people, whether they are fully consciously aware of energy, we're all reading energy all the time. This is how we can pick up on body language. This is how we can pick up on emotional cues. It's just the more you tune into it, the more you will be able to realize that you're doing it. So the next card we have is Three of Materials. And this card is all about collaboration. This card is all about building relationships. This card is all about, collaborating. And this might be collaborating with your friends, collaborating with your siblings, collaborating with your family, collaborating. It's about teamwork. And it's realizing that on this journey, as we're moving forward, we are being called to collaborate. We are being asked to co-create with the universe. We are being asked to co-create with ourselves. We are being asked to co-create with our higher selves. We are being asked to not be so individualistic anymore. The world has taught us that we have to be alone, alone, alone. But the thing is, yes, it is important to spend time alone. And yes, it is important to be clear on what we as individuals desire for our lives. But when we are able to find a way to bring our desires to somehow, what's the word I'm looking for? To somehow come into harmony with the bigger picture, then the universe conspires to help us. And the best way to explain this is, if what you're doing is the best way to do something, the best way to succeed in life essentially is to do something that brings value, to be of service to others in one way or another. And there are many ways to be of service. Sharing information that you have that other people don't have is being of service. Being in a service industry where you are offering a service, helping people in one form or another, is being of service. And when whatever you do is lifting people up, or lifting up the world, or doing something that is making the world a better place in some way or another, then the universe is going to help you get there so much faster, because you have the same mission, which is to create a place where there is more harmony. We are at a point where we are here to create heaven on earth. And if you resonate as a light worker, then you more than anyone will resonate, because we are here to shift the frequency of the earth as we know it. Because I think it's safe to say that the world as it has currently stood is not a great place. This world does not stand to elevate and make people enjoy life. The matrix system is not here to bring joy to the most amount of people. And I think we can all agree to that. And there is no one particularly to blame. It is just the way things have evolved. And this is why, as we start to improve ourselves and want to improve our individual lives, then this becomes an energy that more and more people tap into. Because when you are doing good in your life, you naturally inspire others to do good in their life. So ask yourself where you can start collaborating with your higher self, collaborating with the universe, collaborating with those around you, and start doing something that brings more value. Yeah, so again, this card came out in one of the previous readings that we are very much working on the base chakra. It is all about strength and security. We are laying the foundations for the future you. I want to talk about concepts of manifestation here because I think more and more people are starting to become aware of the concept of what manifestation is. And we're all manifesting all the time, whether we're aware of it or not. But the more you become clear on how the process of manifestation works, then the more you can start to consciously manifest what it is that you desire. But whatever it is that you are manifesting, the state of the world, the state of your current life is due to the foundations that you have had in your own life. And this is the problem, is that the foundations of the world upon which the society have been built are not positive ones. You know, we believe that we are living in a world where there is lack, where there is not enough for everybody. And maybe that is the case as it stands with the way we are depleting the resources of the world. And again, I keep talking about the way we continue to rape our dear beloved Mother Nature, who continues to provide for us everything that we need all the time. But if we continue to rape her, and this is unfortunately, this is what is happening, then we do not have enough resources, because the earth, which is built so beautifully and in such harmony when she is left to simply be and do what she needs to do in order to be in harmony, but we as human beings have come in place and we have created disharmony in the system. And this is what we're seeing happening on a greater scale. We are seeing the faulty foundations upon which the society has been built. And unfortunately, a lot of the foundations have been hidden away from us. And this is why they talk about the veil of illusion, the veil of Maya, the veil where we cannot really see what is going on in the world around us, because unfortunately, most of us are buying into the narrative that is being shared through the mainstream. But there is so much more going on in the world than what we are showed in the news. How is it that across the world most news stations talk about the same thing? How is it, and this is the concept of globalization, where over the years we have become one more globalized system, but unless we actively go out and seek the information that isn't just being given to us, we tap into so much more information. So what information is inside of you that you haven't been allowing yourself to tap into because you have been fearful? Think about maybe the faulty foundations. Think about where you don't feel strength. Think about where you don't feel secure. And again, go back to your inner child. Go back to childhood. Think about your childhood. Did you feel safe in childhood? Did you feel secure? Did you feel that you had everything that you needed? Did you feel that you had loving and giving parents? Did you feel that you had everything that you need? And if you answer no to any of those questions, then you have to go back and learn to give yourself those things now, in this present moment, as the current version of you who stands at this time. And the more you nurture yourself now, the more you are nurturing and protecting your inner child. So it is so, so, so important for you to start developing a self-care routine, a self-care practice. And this simply just means checking in with yourself, making sure that you have all that you need now, making sure that you are surrounding yourself with only that which brings you joy and only that brings you elevation. So what hidden knowledge what hidden ooh, excuse me what hidden knowledge is inside of you that you are not allowing yourself to tap into? And the numerology we have is 52, which brings us down to a 7, and it says here, Akashic records, silent understanding. Yes, beautiful souls. We are being asked to go deep inside of ourselves and to tap into the information and the knowledge and the truth that sits inside of us. You know, the 7 relates, and again, we are in 2023, which comes down to a 7. 7 is the year of truth, which is why so much is being revealed. For those of you who are familiar with the Bible, they talk about the book of Revelations, and Revelation simply means when something that was hidden is revealed. There is so much hidden knowledge that is inside of us, but also so much hidden knowledge in society, so much about our past that we do not know. And the more we tune inwards, we have so much information. The Akashic records relates to all the stored information we have of all the past lives that we had ahead of us. And for those of you who are not believers of reincarnation, then this is something that you can start perhaps opening yourself up to, because again, unfortunately, religion, organized religion that boxes us into a certain set of belief system, doesn't allow us to expand our beliefs. And we can be religious and spiritual, but unfortunately, when I look at organized religion today, it seems that spirituality has been taken out of it, because to be spiritual means to be able to commune with the spiritual world, which means to be able to communicate with God, to be able to communicate with Allah, with a higher power, whatever you want to call it. This is a higher being, a divine being that is all knowing, all seeing, that has so much information. We are all capable of communicating with this divinity. We do not need to go into a church or a temple, because remember, the body is the temple, and the soul is a fragment, sorry, of the energy that created everything. So we are all interconnected, and we can all communicate with the divine that exists inside of us and all around us all the time. We have access to so much information. We just need to recognize that we have the ability to tap into it. Most of us know the answers, but because we don't trust ourselves, we feel that we need to go outside. And sometimes, yes, we do need that validation. And this is the process of strengthening our intuition, of strengthening our ability to comprehend the information that is inside of us, and to be willing to follow the information that comes through that we know is correct, but because we don't trust ourselves and we don't love ourselves and we don't believe that we do know it all, then doubt comes in. And so this is a process of releasing doubt in yourself, releasing doubt in the divine, releasing doubt that you are not worthy to have it all, that you are not worthy to live the life of your dreams, because we are all worthy. But we are the ones who block ourselves up, because we don't know how to receive. Because if we did not receive, and most of us haven't received unconditional love, we don't know what unconditional love is. The reason I love animals so much is because the animals that I've had in my life have been what have taught me unconditional love, especially dogs. So think about where you can start to show yourself unconditional love. And when you start to love yourself so much, so much more than anyone or anything else, then you start to change the way you move. You start to comprehend yourself so much better, and you start to tap into wisdom and knowledge that is inside of you, that has always been there, but you didn't trust was the right information for you. Idyllic times. So we have a 48, which comes down to a 3, the garden, a paradise. Yes, beautiful souls. We are being asked to create heaven on earth. And 3 is all about creativity and communication. And so we are all being asked to communicate in a different way. And, as I said in my last video, I recently traveled to Egypt. And as we continue to wonder how these incredible pyramids were built, really, the more I tune into it, the more I see that spirituality was at the core of the ancient Egyptian culture, because they built these incredible temples, these massive temples in honor of the gods. They worship their gods, they co-created with the gods. And spirituality is a feminine energy. It is about using the right side of the brain, creativity, intuition, and art, beauty, spirituality. They all go under the same umbrella. And the more that we tap into beauty, the more we tap into living, this is Venusian energy, this is beauty and harmony, and just living life well, living life happily, being in paradise, being in the Garden of Eden. Imagine where you have everything you need, and you are comfortable, and everything is beautiful, and everything smells nice, and everything feels nice. These are the kind of energies that are being restored upon the earth. These are the kind of energies that haven't been seen for thousands and thousands of years. And the reason that we still can't comprehend these ancient advanced cultures that that existed in prehistoric times is because they were operating from a different set of frequencies. They were operating from a more feminine aspect, and the feminine energies hadn't been stumbled on and stamped on. And when I look at society and I look at the way it really breaks my heart when I see the way women have been objectified and overly sexualized. And when you look at the younger generations, it is horrifying the way they look at women. And when you look on TV at the way women are being portrayed, it is just wrong. It is so wrong. We have to start to honor and respect women. We have to remember that every woman is a mother. Whether you have had children or not, you carry the energy of the mother. And it is time that we start to respect the feminine energy once again, because when we do, we will live in paradise. This is why women are homemakers. Earth is our home. And the reason why our home has not been respected is because the woman has not been allowed to have her rightful place in society. So, really, what we are seeing is the rise of feminine energy and the rise of the feminine qualities, which is why more and more women are expecting much more than they once did and are somehow no longer afraid to voice it. We must voice what we are feeling, we must express the things that we are experiencing. We must express when we are being trampled on, because no more, no more. River of Blessings, yes, 47. An 11. Releasing constraints. Yes, where have you had constraints? As women, as feminine energy, there are so many aspects that have been denied, so many aspects that we have not been allowed to fully express. And whenever women feel the need to express themselves, we're taught that we're told we're being emotional, and we're not being emotional. We're simply expressing what is going on, but because others can't see it, because they choose not to see it, then they are not aware of what is happening. So, where have you been placing constraints upon yourself? Where has society been placing constraints against you? Where have these constraints not allowed you to fully connect with your blessings? Because again, when we do not know how to receive, we give with the right hand, we receive with the left hand. And again, most of us overcompensate onto the right side of our body. What goes on the inside can be seen on the outside. Our body is giving us a physical manifestation of what is occurring inside of our body. So if we are feeling tight and rigid, and if we can't move, it's because there is no flexibility inside our mind. So pay attention to how you feel in your body. That is most likely how you feel in your mind. If you feel chronic pain in your body, it's because you feel chronic pain in your heart, and there are undealt with the traumas and emotions that need to be processed. So again, if this is something that you are experiencing, then feel free to get in touch with me. I can help you through this process. Yes, we are being asked to rise to our courage. Again, the base chakra, the inner earth, we had strength and security. And here we have strength again, fierceness, family. The lion energy, as you can see through all these previous cards, very much feline energy, which is about opening up to that strength inside. The lion, the lioness, the cat lion, they have a lot of strength. They are very agile, calm creatures, but when it comes to the attack, nobody really messes with them. The lion is the king of the jungle. So yes, where are you being the king of your own jungle? Or should I say, where are you not being the king of your own jungle and allowing other people to be the ones to dominate and dictate the way your life is going? Remember, beautiful souls, only you matter in your life. You are the star of the show. You should be the star of your own life. You should not be the star in anybody else's show but your own. So ask yourself where, because you have not allowed your strength. So many of us kind of bite things back because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, we can't hurt anybody else's feelings. We are in full control of our feelings. Only I can choose to feel joy. Only I can choose to feel angry. The anger or the joy is not outside of me. The anger or the joy is inside of me. Only I can choose the way I feel. So if somebody else is making you feel a certain way, then question why it is that you're already feeling this way. That person is maybe just activating something that you're already feeling inside of you. So start to pay attention to where you hold back from maybe hurting people's feelings. Well, if that person's feelings are hurt, it's maybe because they need to do some work on themselves, and there is something that they need to work on in terms of their shadow aspect. So no more Mr. Nice Guy. If somebody is stepping on your boundaries, then no more fear of vocalizing and expressing it. If you don't want to do something, then just say no. And if people can't get on board with that, then those people are just not meant to be in your life. Because remember, you need to be put first. Fierceness, family, yes. Unfortunately, when it comes to boundaries, family is the hardest, because we have been with family from the beginning. And when we change and family, our family members don't change alongside with us, well, we can make them uncomfortable. And so it is important that you be able to stand up and not let your families, um, you know, step all over you. Because if you can't step up to your family, then everyone else will continue to do this to you. It starts with the people that are closest to us. If the people closest to us can't deal with our shit, then we need to have boundaries, and we need to do what is necessary in order to keep firm and to do what works for us. So interestingly, the next two cards we have is the Golden Children. Again, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gift. When you are tender with yourself, and when you allow to tap into that tenderness and innocence of the inner child, you will start to tap into gifts that you didn't even know were there. Because when we're stuck in fight or flight, we're only using a very small portion of our brain, and we're not really allowing ourselves to tap into the other senses that we have, including our sixth sense, including our intuition and our gut feelings, and all those abilities that we have that we don't know that we have, because our mind, and we're kind of tuned into survival mechanism. We're tuned into always, being on the lookout for, oh, what's going wrong, something might come to me, something's going to go wrong. And when things are going well, how many of us wait for the other shoe to drop, thinking that something negative is going to happen? But the thing is, have you heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy? Remember, everything is energy. If we fear something all the time, then we are going to attract that thing to us more than ever. And that is the concept of law of manifestation. We are manifesting both on the positive aspects or on the negative. So think about what you're thinking about. Think about what your fears are. Think about what your beliefs are. Think about what your the foundation of your beliefs are, and the foundation of your life. I recently found out one of the beliefs that I had was, it is not safe for me to breathe. And crazily enough, a few years ago, I got a tattoo on my lung saying, breathe. And the thing is, we don't realize that even our tattoos are giving us information. And the reason why I didn't feel that it was safe for me to breathe, well, because I lived in a household that was honestly quite petrifying. My father had a horrible temper, and where he was traveling very often, and when he was away, well, the nannies that would look after us, well, we would get beaten. And so I was always so scared of breathing. It's like when you're so scared that you feel that even outsiders can hear your heart beating, and basically your body gets stuck in that your nervous system gets your body stuck in that programming. And so over the past few years, I've actually been teaching myself to breathe properly, because I realized that I was not breathing into my left lung, and had a somewhat collapsed lung. And this was visible in my posture. And so really, the beliefs that we have inside of us can even be seen in terms of the issues that we have with our body. So important to learn to nurture ourselves. If we had difficult childhood, and if we had a childhood that was based on a lot of trauma, then now more than ever, we have to learn to love and treat ourselves with tenderness, especially with these shifts going on. So many people are dealing with ascension symptoms, and this might be feeling headachy, fluey, so much thinking. You might be feeling so tired in your body, so tired in your mind. You might be feeling like there are so many things coming up that you felt that you had dealt with, but yet they're coming up again. These are all ascension symptoms, and it's important for you to be tender and kind with yourself. As human beings have been going through evolutions for years and years and years, it's like when you're a child, you need to sleep a shitload because your bones are growing and it's actually painful. So these are the same kind of growing pains that we are going through now, because parts of our DNA are literally being activated. And then we have big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. And I wanted to show both of the cards side by side because you can see there are two portals, right? So you are being asked to enter into these portals. We are being asked to enter into a gateway, into a new realm, into a new version of us. Because when we're literally being asked to think about the foundation of the new earth. Well, what is it that we want the new earth to look like? What kind of world do we want to live in? What kind of relationships do we want to be in? And not only with our friends and family, but even with just our neighbors and people that we don't know. If we could all learn to respect one another the way we respect the people that we love, and to all treat each other with dignity and respect, the world would be a very different place. So, yes, it's time that we start to allow our visionary, inspired ideas to come to the surface. And now more than ever, we need people's crazy ideas because, the only way big shifts happen is when people come up with crazy ideas. And everyone who has created something that has shifted the world was always people always thought that they were crazy. So be crazy. This is a time where crazy is actively being celebrated, because we are being asked to do things in a way that have never been done before. So now we have to start to move from a place of love. We have to start to see the world for what it really is, and to start to be more inspired and allow those batshit crazy ideas to guide us moving forward. Remember how I talked about Earth School? That Earth is a school that our souls come to learn, because when we are energy, we cannot differentiate. We know what love is. We know there is no duality when we are in energetic form. Everything exists at the same time. So when we are in this physical body and we are experiencing duality, so sometimes we can experience depression, but then we can also experience so much love. And we have all experienced moments of great depression, moments of love. And love can just come from, seeing something that touches your heart. That's love. The best way to look at everything is either fear or love. From all the spectrum of human emotions, you either have fear emotions or love emotions. So joy and happiness and acceptance and all those good emotions basically come from love. And all the emotions like anger and shame and guilt and all those horrible emotions that we don't like to feel, well, they all come from fear. So we have to be able to learn. We've come here to learn lessons. And I mean, I'm sure all of you out here watching this video, I'm sure that you have had many life lessons. You can share with us in the comments down below. What life lessons have you learned in the past year? I mean, I've learned major life lessons, so many life lessons. One of them is not being too giving. And me, who has always been such a giver, a big lesson of mine is that not everyone is deserved to receive from us. But also, I wasn't used to receiving. So I have learned to be more receptive and realize that I was maybe over giving. So we come here to learn lessons. And when we realize the shadow aspects, there's nothing wrong with it. We're only human. We all do wrong things and we all make mistakes. And rather than chastising ourselves and being those parents who spank their children when they make a mistake, it's loving the child and saying it's okay, you'll do better next time. And that's how we really have to start treating ourselves. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is not bad. Failure is literally just a way of learning how not to do something. So, all those people who have succeeded in life, they failed 1,000 times in order to succeed. And that's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't, is that they are committed and they are willing to fail 1,000 times until they figure out the way to do it. So, yes, don't look at anything in your life as a failure. Just look at that as an opportunity to learn that that's just not who you are and that's not what you came here to do. So then the next card we have is the Courageous Peony. Yes, multifaceted, unique, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. Yes, beautiful soul. You are being asked to let yourself be seen and to be seen for who you truly are, because there are, when we look at astrology, we look at the sun sign, which basically describes, how you feel at the at the core of yourself. And then we have the rising sign, which relates to how others see you, because the way you see yourself and the way others see you is not the same, because you know the context with which you're coming, whereas other people only see the action. So they can't fully know who you are. But now, unfortunately, we allow ourselves to be defined by what other people tell us. Along the way, people might have said, oh, you're selfish, or oh, you're this, or oh, you're that, or whatever it is that they said. And you believed it for whatever reason, because especially when we were children and adults tell us, or people who are close to us and we're not taught how to, really think and fend for ourselves, then we believe these things. And especially if people tell us these things all the time. But unfortunately, people deflect their own shadows onto us. So, think about things that were said to you in your past that you didn't believe, but many people believed. And because unfortunately we live in a world where the majority of people are in fact narcissists and won't take time to look at themselves and question if they perhaps are part of the issue. So, let yourself be seen for your true unique nature. And we are all multifaceted. We all have different aspects of our personality and different aspects of ourselves. So don't be scared to show each of these parts of yourself, Don't be afraid to shine your light, because now more than ever is when your light is needed. And then the last messages we have are: let go and enjoy, embrace your power, reassess, and face your adversities. So yes, beautiful souls, where are you still holding on and not believing that it is that you are worthy of enjoying a life of fun? We did not come here to pay bills and pay taxes all the time. We came here to be free. Those of us who are alive at this time in our lives, at this time when such big changes are occurring, when we look at the storybooks and the history books, and major people who were talked about, like Achilles and Poseidon, and when we look at mythology and all these great heroes that were talked about, this is a time where heroes like that are going to be talked about once again. And perhaps you who was on this video is one of those heroes, and perhaps you've had some crazy big visionary ideas since the beginning that everyone thought that you were nuts. Now is your time to pursue them, because now is the time when the universe is supporting you. People who tap into new and big change energy, these are the people who are going to succeed. So if you have been holding on to some great idea, then now is the time for you to take action, because the energies are literally supporting it. Embrace your power, because yes, you are just that powerful. And the sooner you embrace your power, and the sooner you start to see yourself for who you truly be, then great things are waiting for you. Reassess where you are not embracing your power. Reassess where the world asked you to dim your light and dumb yourself down. Reassess where you are not being truly authentically you, and where you are hiding parts of yourself. And face your adversities. We've seen here strength and security, strength, fearness, unique, multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen and face your adversities. Yes, beautiful souls, I cannot tell you how long it took me to deal with my adversities and to face my fears, to come out here and be on YouTube and to share these messages with you. So these things take time, and that is okay. It is taking the time that you need, because it is not about the destination, right? It is about the journey. The journey is as important, if not more important, than the actual destination. So start enjoying the present moment. Stop always wanting to be over there, or stop always wanting to be back there, because what is truly of importance is what is happening right here, right now. So, beautiful souls, this has been a somewhat long reading today. If you resonate with this message, please like the video. If you're interested in a personal reading, then you can get in touch with me through my website. I've included a link in the description box below. And yeah, please share with me if this message resonated with me. Please share with me what you're going through, and please share with me if you know generally how you're doing. So much love to you. Know that you are not alone in this journey, and that we are all going through this journey of extreme change. And the more we embrace it, the easier it becomes. Love and light to you, and I'll see you next week.